just just a restart, okay? Because I've just been informed by my producer that my audio was not coming through, which is good for us to restart. So welcome to the Property Hour Show, live on Star Radio UK, this and every Thursday 7 to 8 p.m, where we talk about everything property from the A to the Z. We make sure that you're empowered, you're educated, we educate, so, and we inform as well, but the decision is yours. But we will always encourage you to get into this industry, very key and very strategic as well. Now we are live and broadcasting on a whole lot of the social media platforms. We're live on Twitter, it's the Star Radio UK. We're also live on Facebook. Look out for Star Radio UK Facebook page or Star Radio UK fan page, and also KB Bossman Facebook page. We're live also on our YouTube channel, on TuneIn Radio, and also www.starradiouk.com, and most importantly, our amazing interactive user-friendly app. We are live on our app as well. You can download from Android, on your Android or Apple store, and listen on the go. And you can also listen to this program again if you go on our website or on our app on the podcast as well. That's the good thing about it. And thank you to our sponsor, CIG Properties. It's www.cigpropertyuk.com if you're looking for investment in the UK or in Africa in terms of real estate or property, as we call it in the UK. Please look no further, www.cigpropertyuk. And also our amazing sponsor, that's M&M Concept. These guys are a global company based in Ghana. Competitive prices. If you're looking for all the graphic designs or any print works, these guys, from pull-up banners, everything, merchandise, these guys will do just that for you, and we can connect you to them with a 15% discount. That's for you. And also we are sponsored by Me Associate. If you're looking for a project management company based in Ghana, these guys will do just that for you, and from conception to completion, they'll do just that for you. We'll talk about that later on towards the close of the program. And last but not the least is Keres Furniture, based in Atlanta, Georgia. These guys can deliver to your doorstep no matter where you are on the planet, from Caracas to Caracas in Venezuela to Moscow in Russia, or in Brentford in the UK. So look no further. It's Keres Furniture on Instagram and on Facebook as well. Now let me with all the talking that I've done amazingly, let me welcome Mr. Paul Davis, my very, very special guest for tonight. And I'm going to give a brief description about what Paul has done and the amazing impact he's made in the property industry in the UK, and you'll be amazed. So we're talking about tech and data in the property industry. What are the benefits? What would you derive from getting technology or getting into that space? So my very special guest for tonight is Mr. Paul Davis. Paul, welcome to the Property Hour Show.
Thanks very much. Lovely to be here.
Wonderful. Good to have you on. We're privileged to have you, and thank you for making time for us. So, Paul, before I go into your background, if you can quickly introduce yourself to our viewers across the globe, and who Paul is and what you do, please.
Yeah. So I'm Paul Davis. I'm one of the co-founders here at Nimbus Maps. Sort of in a previous life, I was investor, developer, and then development consultant, and then became interested in technology sort of through that journey, and then Nimbus became a thing. And we've been on a really kind of exciting journey with Nimbus over the course of the last sort of 5 or 6 years since we've been going. So we'll talk more about that later, I'm sure.
5 or 6 years, that's amazing, and the impact is great. From what I've seen, and I've been in some of your meetings, which you don't know that I was in. I can say that the PIN network, I believe Croydon,
very good,
yeah. So I was there when you did that amazing presentation as well, and also for Jack Dora. I was on Jack's program. Yes, is Jack? No. Have you been on PIN?
I've done various talks of PIN. Yes.
Right. Okay. No, I was. It was Jack that I think somewhere, is it last year or something like that? Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
So, which was amazing. But thank you for making time, and I will go straight to ask you that you're a property person, apart from the tech that you and your brother has. You've, should I say, create or invented, or the word to use, as a solution to so many headaches that the industry has been facing for quite a lengthy time. And why did you guys choose to do tech?
Yeah, so I suppose the story starts. Myself and my brother, we were property investors, property developers, had a sort of family portfolio of properties, and we were busy developing those out, in effect. And we sort of started off investing kind of mainly commercial properties, sort of really by, rather than by choice. We sort of ended up with certain buildings that sort of reached the end of their useful life. And so as part of that, we had to become developers, frankly. So we started redeveloping these buildings. And that sort of took us on a journey of sort of looking at various assets that we'd got within the sort of the portfolio, and one of those was over the road from one of the big pub companies, and this was about 2008. There'd been big credit crunch, obviously hit the world and sort of turned us all upside down. Sort of very similar to the recent kind of last couple of years, really. And then we sort of, as part of that, there'd been smoking bans, and the pubs company was really struggling, and so. Long story short, in that we started working with this particular pub company and a number of others to look at how we could kind of help asset manage those big portfolios, kind of quite small assets, but an awful lot of them. And those portfolios, so typical kind of use case was 5,000 or 6,000 pubs, and trying to work out off the back of those which ones we could add value to in various ways. And that pushed us into sort of data and technology. It's kind of the only way you could really sort of work out local knowledge across the whole of the UK and apply that consistently. So we started doing that, and as part of that journey, we started working for the likes of Co-op and Sainsbury's. Kind of got retained by them, doing lots of pubs convert to Sainsbury's and this sort of stuff. And so, and again, we were working on that sort of for them and saying, well, you know, they want a new convenience store in this long list of towns or whatever. And we'd find them sort of using sort of data and technology for that. And we then presented it back on this little tool that we'd created, which was the very first version of Nimbus. And we're sort of showing these acquisition surveyors, and we've sort of gone off and you said you want to be in this location, and here's a site we found, and the owner wants to sell it and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's kind of interesting, but what's this bit of technology you've got, and kind of, can we use it? We were like, no, you can't, it's ours, you know. And then we sort of softened up a little bit, and we thought, well, actually, we'll let them use it if they kind of wanted to. And then we thought, well, actually, perhaps we should sort of launch it wider and kind of let others use it as well. And that was kind of where we started, really. So it was all about sort of, I suppose, scratching our own itch, if that's kind of the analogy.
That's I mean, it's a good step you guys took, because when I look at as sort of somebody in the same space, not in tech but in the property industry, when I look, I tend to investigate how some of the old, or the sort of the 50s, 60s generation that are still in property, how they'll be able to migrate, or they are still traditionalists, conservative people that don't want to move. They're okay with how they've managed for the last possibly 20, 30 years. So you come in with technology, possibly you are confusing them, but you make everything smart for them. Have you encountered such challenges?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, especially kind of the early days in Nimbus. There was kind of, I guess any sort of marketplace sort of moves over a period of time, and certainly sort of the early days. I remember kind of some of the local surveyors we're working with sort of saying, no, boys, that's not the way it's done. You know, as we're sort of coming forward, applying data and technology and this kind of stuff. And I think what's what's kind of happened, I think certainly sort of COVID's been an interesting thing. So I think sort of everybody being locked up at home, we've been forced online. We've been forced to sort of relook at the way that we work and the way that we live and all that kind of stuff. And so that I think has kind of forced that sort of generation to kind of rethink that and start to engage in property, which I think has been kind of quite an interesting thing. But I mean, I think what I would say is that the property industry is very entrepreneurial, and they'll go where the deal is, and they will sort of make things happen and kind of kick doors down to get there. And we've certainly found that is that when you kind of show people what this thing can do and what a new process looks like compared with the old one, you can sort of see sort of the clean pair of heels that it leaves the old process behind, if that makes sense. Then we're very, very happy to kind of adopt that and kind of was looking to improve their businesses. So we've had sort of bits of that where sort of back in the day there was bits of that, but I think when you kind of demonstrably kind of prove this better way of doing things, then people are quite receptive to that, really.
Amazing. And if I can ask that, data has become so important in our era, and but at the same time, people are very, very skeptical to give away data now, in as much as it is beneficial to the end user. What do you think Nimbus brings to the table that will bring that confidence for the end user to say that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go with Nimbus?
Yeah, sure. So at its core, there's a whole bunch of government data sets in effect that we bring together to kind of make life easier in the property industry, frankly. And so the data sets, and that kind of, when I use the word data, I always kind of feel like it's a dirty word, really. It's really information, it's kind of knowledge. It's just bring all that together into a place that you can kind of understand it and consume it, and then kind of make your decisions and move forward with it. And so really kind of where we've been with Nimbus is really trying to replicate what you'd be doing anyway. So you'd be going to various websites to look at various things, whether that's looking at sales values or planning problems or planning histories, all that kind of stuff, or just straightforward ownership and kind of and those sorts of things. And so really we've been very careful to make sure that what we're doing is replicating those old processes, just making them much, much faster. So you're going to the same places to pull the same information to understand the same things. And so we are sort of very careful around all of that. And then there's sort of bits and pieces of information that people want to give us because they want to manage their pipeline of sites or something like that, or they want to sort of be quicker to send letters out to people and this sort of stuff, and really tap into the kind of the power of buying stuff off market and the kind of the ways in which you can really make much better deals if you're off market rather than on market. And so we as a business then very much respect that and very much realise that we're the custodians of important things, and they need to be kind of kept in the sort of looked after in the right ways and used in the right ways. And so we're sort of very careful around all of that.
Very careful around that. And if you've just joined us, you're live on the Property Hour show on Star Radio UK, and my guest tonight is Mr. Paul Davies, co-founder and director of Nimbus Maps, and these guys are doing some amazing stuff. We're going to go through how Nimbus works and the value that you're watching as if you're a landlord, you're an investor, you're an entrepreneur in the industry, or you're looking to get into. So there's a lot to discuss tonight, but hey, the good thing is that you're not just going to listen to, but I will encourage you that it's a good to. I can say I've checked them out. I know they know what they're doing. They've been on this road for a good 6 years, and you know what? You've got to connect. And I believe that at the end of the program, the show, Paul will leave details where you can contact them or connect with them, and he will take you through what they do and how you can also take advantage or the opportunity that's available to you to enhance your journey in property. So Paul, my next question is that what are some of the key benefits that one, if I sign up to Nimbus, what are some of the key benefits that I am going to enjoy?
Sure. So I think kind of at the most basic, when we're looking at properties,
yes,
we're sort of doing this kind of forensic exercise. We're sort of trying to look under the skin of this building and try to understand kind of what it is, what the marketplace that it sits in. And we sort of do that by disappearing off all over the place and sort of reinventing the wheel each time. And actually, what's very clear actually is that you're going to the same places all the time. It's just that it's kind of a sort of you do it as you kind of think about it on each property in effect. So the first thing is we sort of streamline all of that. So it's a single hit of all the information you need about a particular property is all kind of there in one go and very quick to find and very easy. And then sort of when you look at a particular building, there's sort of in that reactive way, I found a set of particulars or whatever it is, I want to kind of understand it, then you're looking at the marketplace around it and this sort of stuff and trying to understand from there whether you're interested in this property or not. Sometimes that might be a bit of conversion potential, bit of extension, bit of added value through it or something like that. Now, what I think the sort of the bigger value comes from is rather than doing that reactively and sort of sitting there getting a set of particulars and saying, well, do I like it, do I not like it, and working it all out, is to say, well, what would the answer be to that? So if I found the perfect set of particulars, what would it look like? And it would look like it's in a great area where I can buy a house and I can convert it to HMO, make a great yield out of it, or I can sell it at the same time because it's a great part of town. It's got a bit of a side garden with an extra place to put a bit of planning gain on it, which I could perhaps either build out or I could sell the land and make a better return out of, and this sort of stuff. And so what Nimbus does is says, well, rather than sit there waiting, hoping to get that set of particulars that look perfect in, go out and find it. Take control of it. Go and find it yourself. And so we give you a whole suite of tools that allow you to go off and find these opportunities that look just like the perfect opportunity for you. And then we give you tools that allow you to go and get in touch with those owners really, really quickly. So that actually, rather than sitting there hoping you're going to find something that's going to kind of land on your desk, you go out and practically go and get it. And that I think is one of the sort of the key things for us. And what that then also means is then as you go through that journey, kind of options open up to you. So typically if you get a set of particulars, you have to write a check. You exchange and you complete on the whatever date that is, and you have to write a check to go and buy this thing. Whereas there's a whole suite of different ways in which you can acquire property, and you can buy it subject to or under option or conditional contracts, all this kind of stuff. And actually, that means the amount of money you've got to put down in deals can be way less than what it would be otherwise. You can get planning gain on that, which perhaps you can get during exchange and completion. You can do some kind of clever stuff around all of that. And so depending on what your appetite is, kind of the system will help you regardless of what that level is and kind of where your skill set lies and what you're trying to get out of it in effect. And so really, I think that's one of the sort of the key benefits is that you can flip everything on its head and you can say, well, actually, what do I really want, and go and find that, rather than sort of sit there and try and wait for it to come to you. I mean, you can do all of that, and you can brief agents and get agents to bring you stuff, and you can trawl through property portals. And it's very helpful in that part of your your process, because you can use it to speed up that due diligence process. But the real power comes when you start saying, I know what I want. And if you don't know what you want, you can use it to go and work out what you want. So you can kind of send some stuff out for different types of buildings and see where you get traction, see the kind of stuff that really floats your boat, and then sort of do more of that. So there's some really, really kind of useful stuff that it does for you.
That sounds incredible. That sounds good. And so you take the stress off the investor, the entrepreneur. You make life easy for them. And sure. Is it possibly for them to... Okay, let me ask this. Let me clear my mind of this. In sure. terms of due diligence, you come in to help.
Yeah, totally. So really good examples of this are going to be, I want to buy a buy-to-let,
yes.
and but I'm fed up of the yields that are there. So actually, if I could buy a house that I could perhaps extend, or perhaps even switch it into HMO and get some higher yields out, something like that might be kind of useful. And so there's a whole load of tools that allow you to go off and find, well, which of the buildings along that street are the ones you're going to be able to get that consent on, and how do you know that's going to be the case? Which ones have already got a planning consent on them? Which ones have already been built out? And so you can really refine in and say, well, actually, these are the areas I want to go and be in. And then you can be picking, well, actually, do I want to be in the best parts of town where I get a sort of a lower yield, but I've got a much easier sales process, and perhaps then sort of repositioning those buildings, and perhaps even saying, well, from there, do I want some commercial conversions where I can buy some very low value upper floor space above a shop, or a tired old office that nobody kind of wants now because the world's kind of moved on since COVID and things, and then reposition that into residential or into HMO and those sorts of things. And then it sort of helps along that journey around, well, based on how you're going to convert that, there's going to be certain things within planning policy that's going to stop you doing that. And so it sort of provides all of that for you as well. So you can say, well, actually, these buildings over here will work, but those ones over there won't. And so I'll sort of stay away from those. And then these ones over here I'm going to really focus on and try and unlock an effect. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, you've answered it. I was going to say that the last time I was on the same platform when you did the presentation, one thing that got stuck in my head was the fact that you explained the HMO, the search for HMO on a particular. I mean, let's say if somebody wants to get into HMO on a particular street, you are able to get them data or information about. Is it some?
Yeah, totally. And kind of, so HMOs I think are brilliant, really, because sort of there's more work involved typically in HMO. My experience has been slightly different. We did all our stuff that was pre-let to universities and stuff, so it was kind of very easy to manage, sort of annual tenancies and stuff. But sort of the interesting thing about HMOs is that often, so there's a change of use you can get from C3 to C4 under Class L PD rights, and often that gets withdrawn through Article 4. So when the Article 4 goes in, what happens is that developers get kind of a bit scared. They sort of think, well, actually, why would I go and focus in a particular area when there's Article 4 in place? Me getting a planning consent to change my use as being withdrawn under PD rights. But what's kind of interesting is that the PD rights, so the Article 4 explains the calculation you've got to go through to say, can I get a change of use or not? And so what's kind of interesting is that developers kind of shy away from it, thinking, well, I don't know whether any building I look at, if I kind of run the calculation, I've got no chance typically of getting that through. But what's kind of interesting is that typically that calculation is usually a kind of a radius around the property, and then counting up the number of HMOs to houses. You're kind of protecting the sort of the ratio of HMOs to houses in effect. So of course the computer is very good at calculating these sorts of things. So we can draw the radiuses and it can calculate the numbers and it tell you well, where does it match and where doesn't it match. Yeah. So what happens in the market is that the developers look at that area and go, Article 4 is in place, it's a bit difficult, I won't bother looking there. But the flip side is that the computer calculates, well, where does it work and where doesn't it work? And you just go and focus on the stuff that does. And what then happens, which is really exciting about Article 4, is that because there's a restriction in place that stops more HMOs coming into that area, you get this supply and demand mismatch. There's kind of still a high demand to buy these things, but fewer properties coming into it because the Article 4 is restricting that. So that pushes the price up. So you have this kind of planning policy that scares the developers off, but pushes the value up. You can then go and find those buildings that then have all those benefits. So it's a really, really kind of useful way of doing that. And some of these places like Nottingham, where sort of there's wall-to-wall HMOs, there's still sort of pockets where you can really leverage that. You end up in these great marketplaces where they're so well set up for students and for the professionals that also live in HMOs. And yet you can sort of pick these little pockets out and pull these little gems out based on just kind of where, I suppose, over history they've just said that the HMOs just kind of end up in certain buildings and not in others, and there's little pockets of opportunity. So, and of course, then you have that great benefit of a really exciting marketplace for it to go into. And of course, now you've got this wave of kind of PD rights that kind of open up more buildings to conversions and all that kind of stuff, Class E and things like the new Class G that allows you to convert parts of commercial buildings and then with that you can do HMOs on top as well. So there's kind of lots and lots of that same principle in reality. Which buildings pass the test for the for PD rights, which ones don't, and which ones pass the test for it working financially, and off you go, really.
Amazing. Wonderful. Let me ask this. I mean, from the explanation you've just given, so who are your target people? As in, is it just investors or agents, or who are your target audience? So
we target. We think we can help investors, developers, and then all the professionals that hang off them, basically. So in the residential world, it's say investors and developers, and then the sort of the estate agents, the valuers, and the kind of land and new homes agents that kind of support all of those people. In the commercial space, it's the same. It's investors, developers, and then the surveyors that hang off that. So the valuers, the lettings agents, and the brokers. So we sort of see the marketplace really as being anybody that's got a sort of an interest in property outside of their principal house, basically. So we can help with all that. If you're looking to acquire stuff, you're looking to understand kind of what's going on around your portfolio. There's some pretty interesting stuff around how the industry kind of negotiates. So really good examples of that are kind of some of the big sort of, I suppose, some of our old clients, really, sort of the people like the big retailers and stuff, where they've got a set of things that they will accept, and they'll start off negotiating with stuff that they'll just see if they can get through, and they'll sort of they'll make you a worst offer to start with. And actually, if you can find out what they really can accept, then you can really kind of drive lots of value into those properties. Again, part of that is sort of why we did what we do, sort of bringing that information and making that sort of clearer for people to understand, so they can really drive the right value out of their properties. Is what it's all about, really. It's helping people achieve their property goals, frankly.
Wonderful. And let me. This is outside Nimbus, but I want to talk more into tech and property.
Sure.
That has tech come in to change the face of, property? The industry? So
I don't think so, if I'm honest. I think the industry will move, but I don't really see it as a disruptive kind of. There's kind of a bunch of tech companies trying to disrupt it. I think there's lots of supportive tools that are trying to help and improve things. I think that rate of improvement is accelerating, and I think it's getting better and better. And I think, as you kind of expect, as the tech companies are getting more mature and they're doing cleverer and cleverer things, then sort of you see that impact kind of flowing through more and more. But I don't see it as a sort of a step change, disruptive kind of thing. I think there's lots of very old ways in which things have been done, and they're, in every other part of your life, on assets and things that are way less valuable than the buildings that you own, you have way more technology and way more analysis put into those decision process, and a much more kind of transparent marketplace that you're working in. So I think the industry has quite a long way to go, and I think the technology is kind of helping along that journey to kind of really improve things.
Thank you for that clarification. And there are seriously levels of investors in the industry, and majority of the time the small to medium ones tend to do the hard work by doing everything by themselves. Now, is Nimbus are you guys ready for everybody, or you just looking at the upper class? If I talk about the upper class, I'm talking about the big investors, people that are, they can sign up and ready to go. It's not going to be a burden for them. But what about the small to medium guys that are coming into the property space?
Yeah, sure. So, as I said, Mike, with kind of who we target to help, basically, we don't discriminate kind of where you are on your journey.
Yeah.
And then you start somewhere. We started with our first development, and before that we were investors. Before that we weren't investors. Everybody's the same. You can't become an investor. You tend to not be invested before you become one, and so we sort of don't discriminate around all of that.
Yeah.
So within our systems we've got things tailored particularly around HMOs and around kind of buy-to-let investments, and this sort of stuff. And sort of, if I had my time again, sort of the first development I would have done isn't the one that I did. It would be a side garden. So I've got a buy-to-let portfolio. I'd buy the house with a side garden on it, and I would then sort of be comfortable with the investment that I'd made in the house, but I'd get this bit of land to the side of it for free, and I would then work the planning up on that and maybe build it out and this sort of stuff, and sort of then build from there in effect. And so we support all of that. We're not discriminating. We support some huge stuff as well. There's some massive companies doing some amazing things with the system as well. But ultimately, we're all using the same information. It's all the same place we're going to. And a small development can be as difficult as a big development. It just depends on some of the constraints that you've got on this sort of stuff. And so the same principles apply to all of it. So yeah, we sort of support people right at the very start of their journey. We do a lot of work with training companies and this sort of stuff, and help kind of right at that very sort of start. Because ultimately, if you get those foundations right and you do the right things, then typically you can do pretty well in property. And so we want to make sure that that's the case.
Okay, amazing. So I'm just having a quick look if there are questions from our viewers. I believe. Okay. Anisu Patrick is that okay? Please, if you can clarify your question. You're asking 360 virtual viewings and pre-existing HMO or creating new. I don't really understand if it's a question or contribution. Anisu, but then let me come back to you, Paul. In terms of in the industry, what most of the time let me talk for the starters or the new guys on the block, when they sign up, their challenge, and I'm speaking as somebody that speaks to most of these guys, their major challenge is support when they sign up. And people get frustrated, as in when they are new to a system and they can't get their head around stuff and all the stuff. What are some of the plans you have as a company for people like that? People that are not tech people that don't want to. I mean, they are traditionalists, I call them.
Yeah, sure.
What are some of the support systems?
There's kind of a number of things, so a number of ways to kind of crack that nut, really. So the first thing is customer support. It's kind of helping our customers. We can't sit here and say we're here to help people and help you achieve your property goals, and then not support you and get you to understand how to use the system and get the most out of it. So we have a sort of a big customer success team that spend their lives worrying about whether you're getting the most out of the system. We have some sort of lots and lots of training that's sort of brought in as part of that, which you can tap into or not. Some people don't need anything at all. You see it once and get on with it and find it all tremendously straightforward. Others need a bit more help, and sometimes that breaks back to the computer they're using has got something that is kind of conflicting with something else on their computer, and so we have teams that will kind of help with that as well, just to make sure that you're in the right place and doing the right things, frankly. So there's all of that, and then the second bit then is the way in which we build the software. Is trying to make it as simple as we possibly can. It's listening to what our customers are saying about what they want and what they're finding, and it's really sort of talking to people. And I think that's kind of true in most industries, isn't it? If you can talk to people and you can sort of let them explain what they're struggling with, often you can design that out of a lot of things, really. So we're trying to crack it in a number of ways, which is support and kind of helping you understand these things. And if there's stuff that we've done that isn't right, then we have to be open to that and listen to that, and we have to then design those things out and make it the best we possibly can. and worry about how many clicks it takes you to go and get that information. That's our job. We have to make sure that we care about how many clicks it takes you and make that as simple and easy as possible, as intuitive for you to use it as possible. So we crack it in two ways. One is the design of what we're doing, and the other is by just helping and supporting as kind of people need. Everyone needs something different, and it's being open and aware to that. And you have an account manager that kind of helps and make sure you kind of get the most out of it, frankly. So
okay, right, okay, thank you for that, Paul. I will. So okay, if you let me read out our WhatsApp number. You can send your questions or contributions to 07539661744. That's 07539661744. You can send us your questions or contributions, and I believe that Paul will be more than happy to answer to the best of his knowledge. So I've got one in already. One of our our loyal listeners, that's Benjamin. He sent through that. Thank you, Paul, for coming on the show. I want to find out from Paul. Okay, Benjamin. Okay, I believe I want to find out from Paul. I believe he's saying, or you can clarify, Benjamin. He's saying that when he signs up, is it on contract basis, or is it Benjamin? If you can clarify, but then I believe that he's put contract there, so possibly is it on contract basis when you sign up?
Yeah, sure. So we have, as part of it, it's kind of making sure that the system's right for you. So the process is that you come in, we give you a demonstration of the system, kind of show you the kind of key bits that you need to do. Then there's a 7-day free trial, so you can have a go with it, make sure you're kind of comfortable with it. And then at the end of that, you have a choice. You can do a sort of a month-long contract where it just kind of rolls monthly and kind of use it as much as you want to and work out if it's right for you. If you need a bit longer to do that, or you can do a 12-month contract with us. Like your mobile phone, 12 months is cheaper than a monthly contract, but it's kind of what's right for you, really. So you have a choice of either, really.
Okay. Yeah, okay. He's clarified. He was asking about, is it on monthly contract or so? Yeah, Paul has explained. And I have another question coming from Justine. Okay, so Justine says that thank you for the show. I've enjoyed every bit. How can I get access to Nimbus? So okay, thank you, Justine. But I believe Paul will leave his details and website and how you can get in contact with them. Thank you. Please keep your questions coming. These are from WhatsApp. So if you want to send a WhatsApp through, is 07539661744. We'll be wrapping up soon, but please, if you still have questions, just send them through. I'll be more than happy to send it over to Paul for him to answer that for you. Now, Paul, I want to find out now your services. I mean, as unique as it is, and it makes life so easy for the professional or investor in the property industry. Now, what do you have offers? We're in the new year. Are you offering any? Do you have any special offers that you guys are offering?
Not today actually. Maybe we should have for the show, but sadly not at the moment. No, the offers, sort of the 12-month contract is a sort of a really quite a reduced rate actually. So you get sort of pretty good value, I think, and that's usually pretty well regarded as pretty good value, really. So
okay,
off today.
Okay, and my next question is, how can people get access to you in terms of the services you offer? And if people want to engage you, people want to sign up, how do they get access to you,
So
please?
the first thing to do is to go to www.nimbusmaps.co.uk. That's our website. On that website, there's a big button in the middle that says book a demo. So that's your first thing to do, is to just book a demo with the team. What they'll do is they'll then show you the system. They'll show you the kind of the key bits. They'll understand what it is that you want from the system, what you're trying to achieve, what your overall goals are in property. From that, they'll be able to show you which bits of the system are kind of most relevant for you. They can set up for 7 days to have a go with it, and then you can sort of see how easy it is to use and how all that stuff I've been talking about is so achievable. And then from there, if it's right for you, great. If it's not, then that's fine too. But yeah, nimbusmaps.co.uk is the website to go to, and the big button in the middle of that, right in the centre, that says book a demo. You'll be able to get in the next sort of day or two, and I'll be able to show you all that.
Okay, and it's good you mentioned the 7-day trial, and within the 7 days, people can make up their mind as to.
Yeah, and they have kind of, so there's somebody that's kind of assigned to you to kind of help you, and they'll arrange a sort of a call halfway through to make sure, and they'll kind of make sure that you're kind of really understanding what you're doing and making sure it's just right for you. Really, it kind of boils back to what I was saying at the start, which is all about making sure that we're supporting people, and some people need more help than others, and depending on where you're on that scale is, there's a level of support that's right for you, really.
Amazing. And also, I want to find out that I know you're coming on Jack Jora's show in April.
Sure.
What should we be expecting?
Yeah, so the kind of key things that I suppose I'm sort of perhaps qualified to talk about are what's hot in technology and what's hot in site finding, really. So how we apply that technology to make all that work, really. So that's what I'll be talking about. There's some great speakers on that show. I'm really looking forward to the day. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. We're going to talk about all the hot new stuff that we can do with property, how we can really accelerate growing property portfolios, and there's just a few tricks that we'll kind of release at that day. There's some really great speakers that are going to be there with us as well. So people like Simon Zucchi and Ranjan Bhattacharya, and of course Dan Taylor, and kind of a whole load of other people as well. So it'll be a really great show. Looking forward to it.
Amazing. I can't wait for April to come. But then all too soon, Paul, I'd like to say a big thank you for coming on the show. We so privileged to have you. And before you go, please, your closing comment, and if you want to wish some amazing people well and happy new year. We're still in the new year mood, so
yeah. Happy Christmas. No, so I mean, I suppose for me, I'm always sort of very excited by these sorts of things, and I'm always sort of very impressed when I meet people that are starting out on their journey and are sort of going through property, and I find it absolutely inspirational. So if people are starting out early in their journey, it's an amazing journey that you go through on property, and it's massively rewarding. And so yes, I'd firstly salute you and wish you all the best on that journey. It's a remarkable ride, and good luck.
Thank you. And before you go, are you still? Not just a landlord, but are you still doing properties?
So we haven't done. We still have a property portfolio,
okay,
but we haven't been buying stuff. And the last development we did, we completed in 2018. We did a pre-sale of a co-op on a car park of a pub for one of the big pub companies, and we kind of took the view that it wasn't right for us. Either we're supporting an industry or we're competing with the industry, and we can't have both those things. Is where we feel. So and again, we're being trusted with data, and we're being trusted with information, and we need to be whiter than white with that. And so we're not actively buying anything at the moment. We might do the odd little thing, but we haven't done anything for sort of several years. And in fairness, we have got quite a lot on our plates when it comes to the new ideas and the new things we want to do with Nimbus. And I guess with all these things, you have to work out where you can be most helpful and where you can have your biggest impact. And for us, we're it's data and technology and how we apply it to the property industry.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. And once again, we're grateful. Have a good night. And the best of the year is yours. So we'll catch up soon. Thank you so much for coming on. All right. And so that is my triple VIP guest, Mr. Paul Davis. He's a co-founder and a director for Nimbus Maps. You know what? You see, life can be so easy if you know what to do. And that is one thing that I picked up from what Paul was discussing or sharing with us. So it's a great opportunity for you to introduce tech to you into your space, where it will do what? It will cut off the stress. And so it simplifies all the, they do all the due diligence for you. You just go on and feed the system, and hey, with a kappa in your hand, you'll be able to get all the information so that you make the right decision and you're not screwed. Very key, very important. And that's what Paul has been talking about. And as he said, you can get hold of them on www.nimbusmaps.com, I believe. And so you'll be able to get more information on. Or if you miss out anything, please connect with us, myself, whether on social media, or if you have my number, you can connect with myself. Or if you want to find out more information, it's 0208 I believe 0208 133 2258. That's 0208 133 2258, and we'll be more than happy to connect you to Paul and the team. Amazing, incredible team, doing an incredible work as well. So hey, you don't want to miss out. You don't want to be stressed up with all the headache when it comes to property. I know how it is and how it feels like, because I've been in that space, and I am. So please get in contact with Nimbus Maps. You can even Google it and it will give you all the details as well. Very important. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a good learning curve. We've been informed, educated, and I believe that you've been transformed tonight on the Property Hour Show. This and every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. You don't want to miss next week as well. It's the gaffer himself is going to join us. Mr. Jack Dura is going to be our guest, and this man, he is a superman, I call him. He knows what he's about, doing some amazing and incredible things. Join us next week on the Property Hour Show with himself, the man himself. And we owe it to him for connecting us with Nimbus and Mr. Simon Zushi and all the great guys in the industry, as we've been privileged to be connected by Mr. Jack Dura. And so he's here with us next week. Make a date. And you know what? Thank you to Keris Furniture in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you and for the amazing work you're doing. If you're looking for furniture or interior decor, it's Keris Furniture. The good thing is that they're able to deliver to your doorstep no matter where you are on this planet called Earth. Please connect with them on Instagram and also on Facebook. Keris is KHARIS Furniture. And also amazing good news is that M&M Concept are offering you 15% discount on all your designs or print works. If it's banner or t-shirt or even your book, please connect with them. They'll be able to give you 15% discount as long as you mention Star Radio UK, and you will have the best value for money. These guys are based in Ghana, but incredible customer service professionals as well. So connect with M&M Concept, and you know what, you will not regret it. Amazing. You see all our flyers, these guys do it, and Katie and the team, kudos to you. Great stuff, and happy new year to you as well. And also let me say that Mayor Associate based in Ghana, your project management company when it comes to properties or housing project management company in Ghana. Don't bend your fingers. Don't trust people that might mess you up in the end. It might be friends or family. It's happened to so many people. Trust the professionals. You can take them on. Value for money is Mayor Associate based in Ghana. You can connect with them via us and 0208 133 2258. That's 0208 133 2258, and we will connect you to them. And also, let me say that Cornerstone International Group Limited, that's CIG Properties, www.cigpropertyuk.com. Get all the information on there. And you know what, if you're looking for investment, you're looking to let your property or buy your next property, they've got some amazing property mortgage brokers that will be able to do just and whatever the most complicated property issues, they will deal with it for you. And so connect with them. And also, if you're looking for investment in Africa or looking to buy land or properties, it's cigpropertyuk.com. And so let me say, on Sunday, if you're looking for investment, how to save, how to get out of debt, 5 p.m. this Sunday with my guest, Mrs. Mary A.C. Buedu, and you will not be missing out this year. You can come out of debt. It's still possible. Join me 5 p.m. Sunday, 5 p.m. UK time, and we'll be bringing you Faith Talk. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I salute you all. Thank you for giving us space within your space. Good night. God bless. No stress. Nothing less. Next week, don't miss it for anything at all. And let me say, okay, let me do this quick. All right.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.